Hello and welcome to episode 566 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. My name is Vince Hunt, and joining me as always is the artist and creator of Vanguard, the epic webcomic everyone should be reading, and it's returning in 2026, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And a man that every time, Tony Esmond, I get lost in your eyes when I see you every week. Do you feel the same?
Oh, is this a song lyric that I'm not aware of?
No. I was just for the first time in 10 years, just flirting with you openly. But if you're just going to turn that down,
don't give me that. It's not in 10 years. We've shared hotel rooms.
I know. Oh dear, but
Rubus cockburnius.
That's a plant everyone should get for their garden.
Yeah, you've sent me on the WhatsApp.
Yeah, we might put that in the Substack. But we are not alone this week. Returning to join for the whole damn shebang this week is friend of the pod and creator of the epic Steamroller Man. Welcome back to the show, Matthew Schofield.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Good to have you back, fella.
And talking to you guys.
Well, this is probably a surreal thing because you just said just before we started you have been listening to old shows recently.
You've got a new longer commute, haven't you?
So,
as part of your job.
Yeah.
So do you actually think
that
a
longer commute?
Yeah. And you think your psyche is broken now? You've stopped listening, and now you think you're actually part of it. Like, is this real?
I wonder that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I've been listening to ACP on my commute, which is because I'm driving all the way across Los Angeles, back and forth to get to work now, and so it's about 90 minutes one way. Like one night, it took me 2 hours to drive home, which was like very painful, but it was made less painful by the dulcet tones of Vince, Dan, and Tony.
Look at it giving me the poor me, isn't he? Because he told us earlier that he actually drives to the beach every morning to work.
The beach? It just happens to be near the beach. I'm not driving to the beach.
To the beach.
He is a lifeguard.
I was actually in a windowless office for the first 4 weeks that I was there.
Oh, right.
Wow.
So it was...
Wow.
It was a little...
Not great.
I mean, it was fine. It's
well,
fine.
Is that because of all the NDAs?
Working in the animation industry and etc.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, we will endeavour to be a ray of sunlight, as you are to us, Matthew.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So I can do the charm effect. Thank you. Well, this is I need to be the good cop right now because in a moment,
got the day off tomorrow.
Bad cop's coming.
If bad cops
Bad cop's coming.
I think is don't try and wind him up. That's what I'm saying, guys.
No.
Don't try and wind him up because I will.
Yeah. No.
It's day off tomorrow as well. You can be angry tonight and stay up late. Can't you?
I can. I tell you what. I can eat ice cream before bed if I want. Well, I should.
You do that any night.
I can do that any night. To be
eat ice cream in bed.
I'm a grown up. What am I talking about?
Don't have to worry about getting up early tomorrow morning.
Do you guys have a little thing after we finish the pod? Because we tend to finish quite late on a Sunday, don't we? Do you have do you stay up a bit and do stuff? Or...
Yeah, I do. I take the recycling out.
Oh, okay. Pretty rock and roll.
I have cheese and biscuits. That's my thing.
You have cheese before bed?
Yeah, mate.
God.
My dreams are sordid enough as it is. You're not going to make any worse with fucking cheese.
I don't have any kind of routine. Just kind of.
What you just power down for a week?
Maybe I need one.
Yeah. He does 400 one-finger push-ups, and then
just a chin up, just with his chin.
He writes another letter off to the Kumite.
Yeah.
And then,
Why won't you have me back this year?
Dangerous Dan.
Because you keep kicking down all our trees. I think we've really painted a picture of the sort of people we are there, and for a lot of our listeners there, haven't we?
I think so.
Yeah,
Sophisticated cheese eater that I am.
Yeah,
Matthew can ponder what he's going to do after we finish recording.
Yeah.
Probably go down the beach.
Well, I was just thinking. Oh, shut up, you! I was just thinking.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Based on what Tony said about eating cheese before bed. Bringing it back to comics, there used to be, in the early 20th century, there was a comic strip called Dreams of the Rarebit Fiend.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
By Winsor McCay, who was the guy who created the Little Nemo in Slumberland comic, which was also about dreams. But I I think Dreams of the Rarebit Fiend came before Little Nemo, and it was about a guy who, I guess Rarebit was a name for cheese on toast.
Welsh rarebit.
Melted
Welsh
cheese.
rarebit,
Yeah.
Never understood that name.
And he would eat that before he went to bed and have these weird dreams. So I just wanted to mention that because it's all.
Well, I think it's fantastic.
Bringing it back to comics.
You've actually brought the show back on track.
I've got to say, if someone did that as a comic, I'm not sure I'd back it on Kickstarter.
I fucking would. You need to get some more cheese in your life. You need more cheese, Dan. I think that
depends what dreams he had, I guess.
Yeah. Next time I see you, we're going out for cheese and biscuits somewhere.
I tell you what, the comics industry, never mind the image explosion, this is where the rock and roll behaviour happens, isn't it? Cheese and biscuits.
Yeah.
Cheese and biscuits.
Explosion. That's what we need.
Yeah, brilliant. Anyway,
I know that squeezy cheese as well. I know technically it's probably not cheese.
I know it's just an edible polymer, isn't it? Really, squeezy cheese, but it's delicious. Plus, it can probably seal your windows quite nicely.
You're an edible polymer. You're probably right. To be fair, yeah.
Oh dear, this show's so funny so far, which is quite amusing because we're talking about humour comics this week, and we're going to have a very serious topic of conversation talking about
humour.
Are comics funny at all? So it's going to be obviously very.
But before that,
very serious.
Before that,
Rage
dark cloud approaches over the podcast. Tony shared with us today a screenshot from the Marvel app.
From the Marvel app.
Marvel Infinity app.
Infinity comic. There's a marvelous new comic come out that I thought Vince would love. It's called Alien, the friendliest facehugger. And Vince has very much been enjoying me sending it through to you.
Before you start, Vince, you did have some.
Yeah, please.
You did have some concerns about Marvel taking on the Alien in the Predator franchise, but as we can see now, that was like they were sure hands.
They're completely misplaced. My concerns were completely misplaced. They have chosen to honour the integrity of the concepts and vision for these science fiction franchises.
Because I think one of the subtexts of the original Alien film was rape, space rape. Is kind of how you can.
Oh my God! Straight into it.
How you can spin that as a kind of like family friendly, cutesy thing is kind of like what?
Tony's actually I said before I'm going to go full 1970s FA Cup final. I'm going to go in with both feet and get a red card on this one. So, but before I do want to be up front and say I haven't read it. Tony is the only one that's read it.
Well, I've sent you two pages from it, so you probably read about
and obviously
a tenth of it.
I'm looking at it on my phone now. I have the Marvel app on my phone.
There you go.
And I will I will say all of my problems won't be with like any of the artwork or artwork style or anything like that. That's not my problem is conceptually.
I think the artwork's fine. It's the wrong subject matter for that kind of artwork.
Now, Tony, just kind of because as you've read it, just give us a little bit of.
Yeah, so this, in all honesty, this is part 2. I didn't read part 1 because I'm not a lunatic. And so, what are the normal aliens called? The ones with the big penis heads. What are they called?
Well, they're just
xenomorphs.
Xenomorphs.
Right. So they land on a ship, followed by one of the little scuttly ones. Facehuggers. And the facehugger jumps out and he makes his doesn't really speak, but he does like an emoji, smiley face emoji as he jumps out of wherever they've come from. And then the xenomorphs eviscerate. They eat the brains out of back of people's heads and shit like that. With their penis mouths come out.
Yeah.
And destroy their brains. And then the little xenomorph discovers a girl, like a young girl, and she's got a baseball bat. And she doesn't know what to do, and they sort of stare at each other. Then she goes to hit it, and the facehugger zips off, and it runs into a soldier who sort of picks it up, looks at it face to face, and then puts it on his arm and pets it like it's a cat. And the xenomorph gets used to it, and then some hearts come out of the xenomorph, and that's the end of the comic. There you go.
Okay.
Summary done.
Where to start?
Written by Jason Liu. Art by Goodman Yamada. Colours by Jim Campbell.
Even though we're laughing about like just rage baiting, etc. I do kind of I want to be balanced about this as well as sort of saying my problems with it. So my problems probably aren't with the creators, to be fair. Not so much.
They've probably been given a job to sort of say, "Here's a comic you got." Right.
Unless they've pitched it.
And they probably they probably enjoyed it, and I don't really, and there are people out there who will probably read this and get some enjoyment from it. There will be, because there's always everything's for different tastes. It's a subjective medium. Let's be honest.
Some people enjoy any old shit.
I'm going to partly agree with you. I can't not agree with that statement. However, objectively, that is not a very good comic.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I haven't read it, so I can't, but I believe you, Tony, because of the way that
it's just not very well made.
Yeah. For me, it is a fundamental lack of understanding of this concept. It feels like a decision. Almost like one of those 80s toy line decisions, like, this Pinhead guy. Perhaps we should do a kids cartoon with him and make toys.
RoboCop, Rambo, aliens.
But with those, there's no like uber violence in them. In this, the aliens are fucking bashing out the brains of fucking soldiers.
In the comic,
that's the difference for me.
That's what's bizarre. That's what I found bizarre. I just thumbed through. It's a very quick read because it's the infinite scroll format.
Yeah.
And there's 2 issues up on the Marvel app that I just scrolled through on my phone, and that was the weirdest part, was the dissonance between the drawing style is very kid friendly. Like it's anime-esque. I mean, it's manga-esque. Emojis, as you mentioned, Vince,
limited backgrounds,
but then there's people getting disemboweled, like there's blood all over the place, and there's that dissonance between, well, if people are getting killed by this creature within the world of the comic, why would any of the humans want to make friends with the face hugger? Like it seems like what it's trying to go for is, it's almost like the ugly duckling type concept where, this face hugger is not like the rest. He's like the black swan of his species, and he's actually a nice face hugger who doesn't want to impregnate the little girl with.
Well, that's where it messes, because with the brains flying out, it's what, I don't know how they'd grade it, but 12, 13 upwards kind of thing. But everything else in the comic seems to be aimed towards, I'm going to say 8. Below, maybe.
Understand who the audience is then.
Strange.
Using those. I don't understand who this is for.
There's a real
because anyone who's a real kind of aliens fan who likes all that kind of stuff, like perhaps we do. I'm not mad into Alien. I enjoy it for what it is, but they'd be like, "Well, what's this?"
Also, probably all adults, because the Alien films are for adults.
Yeah. You watch, and not just the films. If you watch any documentary about the Alien movies and the making of, it's constantly talking about the themes and the sexualized behind the scenes. Just the imagery, and it just feels like another just absolutely. It's like a mistranslation of
ill-considered,
of IP. Because let's look at it like that. No matter what your intentional feelings for aliens will be, it would be no different if it was RoboCop, if it was something else. All these different. It's an IP. Take the emotional connection I have to whatever this series, whatever it may be. It feels to me that they've looked at something and then made something completely different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not really honouring it. It's like, I want to make a kids version of
it. It feels a bit like a minimal effort comic as well. It could have been written on the back of an envelope and given to an artist who has had to put some work into it, but not perhaps as much as other comics, because that infinite scroll thing leads you to lack of backgrounds, because it's the sort of scroll thing. There are some backgrounds in it, but there's not much to it. I just wonder whether they thought, this is an easy win.
I think that's probably what it is, because if you wanted to go more of like all ages, although I think all ages is the wrong thing to go. You get a franchise like this.
I don't think it is all ages. And the problem is,
this
it isn't
concept.
that.
It's hard.
But if you were going to try and do a book like that and stay away from the squeamish bits of it, I would possibly, instead of doing something like this, I'd do Alien, but from the side of, what's the name of the cat? I've forgotten the name of the cat in the first
Jonesy.
Jonesy.
Jonesy,
An entire book that's just, like feral and things like that. From this cat's perspective, you don't have to cover it in gore. And because you have like an animated cat, you could do things like that. That's a more you could make it scary as well, because kids love scary books.
One day we should have a conversation on here about the phrase all ages, because I think there's a lot less all ages than people say.
Yeah.
A lot of these books that they say are all ages are for people with, let's not call it a stunted sense of humour, but who just like the sort of cutesy thing. They're not aimed at kids.
Yeah.
This whole all ages thing.
Yeah.
You think this is kind of a bit of an ill-conceived attempt at humour in this book, Tony?
Yeah, but massively. It's we'll chat about this in a minute, but there is this move from what is funny to cutesy.
Yeah.
Faux funny.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I mean? This sort of cutesy. Yeah.
I have a whole rant on that.
Oh, good man. Yeah, I thought you might, with you, especially with your background, Geezer. Yeah. It's almost designed for the people who run around at MCM screaming at things.
Yeah.
Is that little firm? I see it.
There's
funny for them, maybe, but I don't.
Yeah. It's also like, because we like these things, we like these monsters. We like the evils. As fans of these franchises, we care about the people that are being killed, but also everyone loves the aliens. Everyone loves the predators. Everyone loves the Freddys, the Jasons. We're fans of these. I'm still standing on the fact that, like, we can like them, but we shouldn't be with them. We should never, ever be with them.
I want the dopamine hit of one coming out and attacking you from the darkness.
Yeah.
I don't want some soldier walking about with hearts coming out of its, its head or something.
And you can do interesting stories from the other side. You can, but you should never lose sight of the fact that, like, what these things are. And back to this book, like I say, it's a fundamental lack of understanding of just the very biology of what these things are. If we looked at it...
At one point, he's holding it up in front of his face, looking at it, talking to it.
Like a face hugger. And I say this, I'm talking like I'm an expert on the series. I'm not. I'm just a fan of the films. And some of the comics are really great as well.
Yeah.
But one of the beautiful things about that franchise is that we don't know. The problem when Ridley Scott came back for Prometheus and all that is that they tried to explain a lot, and I don't want any of that. The beauty
Biggest
of it
mistake ever.
is we don't know. And I'm so sick and tired of everyone trying to tell us, how did Wolverine get his, what was Wolverine before he fucking, even if the origin story was good, it ruined everything. Why are we so intent on wanting to know everything about something fictional like this? Because
some people are not happy with not knowing.
I know.
They want it explained, and the moment you explain it, it goes from, say, being intangible and unknown and great and epic, and when you say no, actually it was like this, it's like it becomes small and easy to write off.
I think the PR bump of saying you find out about Wolverine's origin in this comic is far bigger than the reality of the quality of the comic that follows it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a PR over story, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
I think there's also in the element of in the aspect of like an alien comic, or there's a corporate element to that. I think this has clearly been a case of we've got this concept now under the Disney banner, so Marvel has the right to now make comics based on aliens and that whole mythos. What can we do for kids? How can we make this for kids?
I know.
It really feels like it's that. But then going back to what you were saying, Dan, is there's other R-rated 80s movies like Rambo, Rambo, RoboCop, that you can kind of like soften that concept by just not showing blood. And Rambo now has like with the G.I. Joe cartoons from the 80s, they just shot laser guns, not bullets, because the network standards and practices would not allow characters in kids' cartoons at that time to shoot guns with bullets. But with Alien, that concept is so inherently, as Dan said at the beginning, it's a sexual metaphor.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a sexual metaphor, which that's really difficult to kiddify without destroying the whole concept.
I agree with you, man. Like, once you destroy it, how do you walk it back? How do you make
do this with a lot
again?
of stuff though? The corporate world of like this thing is really popular, and then you just take all the edges off of it, and it becomes like everything else. So no one likes it anymore. Because you've taken something unique and made it like cookie cutter.
But we've made soft toys of it. Surely everyone would like that. Don't... because you can get you can get plush toys of facehuggers, can't you? You can get.
It does just destroy the whole kind of thing behind it, like stuff like that. I think the Alien franchise is all but done. But
we're basically railing against consumerism, aren't we? Basically here.
Yeah. But I think
inauthentic consumerism, in all honesty. But
if we look to what the the creation is, these things. If I'm just boiling it down to what this creature is, from what I've learned from the movies and other things, that they are. I mean, I like the way that Alien and Aliens sort of links together, and there is that sort of insectoid sort of version of it, the hives. I love all that because it's just. And to go through to like the natural world, sometimes things like ants and all of this stuff, they're just working. They don't think. They're instinctual creatures, and usually with a facehugger, as soon as it's out, it has one purpose in life. It has one purpose, and that's to get you to impregnate,
fall in love with a soldier.
And as soon as and as soon as it's done that, it's dead. It literally dies. The moment.
Let me play devil's advocate and play the exact opposite from my own personality. But why? The question always gets thrown at you by people who like this sort of cutesy bullshit. So why do you care about it?
Why do I care about it?
I know what you're going to say, and I probably will agree with you. I just think it's worth asking. For somebody will write somewhere, why do you care about this? Look at the Care Bears. It's something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of these things that are always they're adaptations, they're cover songs, they're always versions of something original. And when you care about the original, it's obviously worked for something. There's a few things, and a lot of the 80s movies, like I'm passionate about Aliens, for instance, Predator, The Thing. Things like that. Yes, I'm playing the same record that a lot of people would say. So when you take, it's no different to someone adapting. People are going to say it is quite different, but just bear with me, listeners.
All right.
Like adapting a classic book, a Moby Dick. If that's when that was done, that was the OG, right? And it's been adapted and changed, and done so many adaptions. If that was your favourite thing, you're probably going to have opinions on when people cover it. You could be like, actually, that's really good. Oh, I don't like what they did there. Because you've got skin in the game, because you care about it. It's something that you care about. So whether it's a classical book or a classical movie, if it hit you and struck you with a personal chord, much like in comics, we talk about, why'd they do that to Wolverine? It's because Wolverine obviously meant something to me. At some point, and the whole point, a lot of these comics, we're talking about a fandom that we cared passionately about these individual characters that sometimes you only see for 2 panels, and then when they turn up in another comic and someone's written them badly, we've got a problem with that.
Yeah, I think what you're doing there is, and I agree with you absolutely, and as well as I do how many times I've fucking banged that gong. But I think objectively as well, I think beyond our feelings about comics and our history about comics, objectively you can say that this is not in keeping with what this should be.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is directed towards kids. If it is, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I think it just waters down the emotional reaction that you should have to the first, what we're going to say, 2 films after that. Do you think they should have stopped? Possibly you might have done. But it waters it all down. It constantly waters it down.
Yeah.
And it's,
I mean, for me, it all depends on your attachment to that original thing. And I think there's a real power at some point to letting go, which I think a lot more.
Well, I agree with you. Absolutely.
Because
I agree with you completely. But I've got no attachment to the aliens, and even I can see that this is a fucking stupid thing to do. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a stupid
tone deaf
money grab.
It's money grab,
tone deaf as well, but
yeah.
also just completely opposite to any of the themes of the series.
Yeah.
And I think it's badly made because you've got that mixture of brains coming out the back of a head with a cutesy story.
Yeah.
If it was just directed toward kids and it was on CBBS or something, we would never see it.
Yeah. And then the kid would then be haunted when they see the full-on film and see what actually happens when a real facehugger does what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
they should have made it a bit like an incident at Owl Creek, where the guy in Twilight Zone jumps off the bridge and he imagines himself escaping from being hung, and at the end he actually hits the end of the rope and he dies. Have that with a facehugger jumping at the guy. And then he comes friends with it.
The interesting
wakes
thing,
up cocooned and he's dropped off, and he's like,
surprise.
Well, this is the interesting.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that, Dan, is in this story, Tony pointed out that the first person that this facehugger meets is a kid. Is that not right, Tony?
Yeah.
It's a little girl.
Yeah.
Now, if we're talking about what a facehugger would do in the movies, the kid's dead. Immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
If you look too deep into that, it becomes problematic. It's like, well, why did it have to be a kid to begin with, and then find a Marine? It's I don't know.
Well, they even had the moment in Aliens with Newt almost getting the facehugger on her face. Like that's literally the moment.
Yeah. Which is why, as an audience,
she was saved.
The terror is heightened.
The whole thing is horrific. Yeah.
So I didn't go as far as I was going to.
I'm a great believer that they should have stopped after Aliens, in all honesty. Fucking walk away. It's brilliant. It's lovely.
There's only two Aliens films, 2 Terminator films.
It's only 2.5 Star Wars films for me.
Yeah, 1 RoboCop film, maybe 2 Predator films.
It's the danger of being a fan, though, isn't it? It's the danger of being a fan.
There's also 2 The Thing films. They're both good.
I look at Alien films.
There's some bits about that Thing film that I like. I think is done really well. But
I'm only winding you up. What were you going to say, Matt? Sorry.
I was just going to say I now look at Alien films in sort of like they're just their own subgenre, like submarine. I really like submarine films.
Yeah,
like
great.
Any movie where like Hunt for Red October, Dust Boot, it's always the same beats. Like it's always the same sort of stuff always happens in every submarine movie, but I love it. And then Alien movies have kind of become the same thing because really you're just going to get the same story beats in every Alien movie.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of go along for the ride and am like, oh yeah, face hugger, check. Comes out of the stomach, goes, hides
I don't know, you guys.
itself,
I'm not grossly offended by that stuff. I just kind of like, whatever, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of
kind of got a weariness of it now.
Yeah, I'm more offended just by the stupidization of comics. That's what I'm more offended by. This is an adult comic and it's just fucking stupid.
I mean, it's not for me. I was unaware of it until today, listeners.
Yeah, so, I'm glad I let you know.
You was mentioning that sort of cutesy humour, Matthew, that kind of winds you up. And did you want to?
We can move over into talking about comedy. So
please do. Although listeners, I would say, read it if you want to read it on the Marvel Unlimited app. But please let's keep the conversation going. Let us know on.
Send Vince some fan art. That's what I suggest.
Hey, do you know what? The fan art would be great with me because that's brilliant art. By
the friendliest little facehugger. Was it the friendliest hobo? Is that the name of the series? Yeah.
That's like the littlest hobo. Yes.
Yeah, that's like saying that. It's the nicest rapist in the house.
Yeah. Oh, Danny's fallen down the well.
Yes.
We could do that, can't we? With a facehugger. Yeah. We could have a facehugger in charge of the Queen Vic in EastEnders. That'd be
nice.
Yeah.
You're barred. Get out.
You're barred.
Starsky and facehugger.
I had a hypothetical to pose to you guys.
Oh God!
So what if we flipped this scenario and took a cartoon from the 80s that was non-violent in its day, and they made a violent version? It was like a revisionist take on, let's say, He-Man, right? And now he's suddenly like lopping limbs off and chopping heads off. How would you feel? Would you have the same feeling like, but that's not He-Man. Like, that's not what it's supposed to be.
I would in some ways, I think I would. I know there was obviously the Kevin Smith.
We're getting that with Winnie the Pooh. We're getting with all that stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're getting that.
I guess.
But all that stuff that goes in public domain.
But like, there's a lot of and I'm going to be hypocritical in some ways because I know like the G.I. Joe and Transformers has modernized it in a certain way. They've certainly, it's grown up a little bit.
It's aged with their audience, right?
But it's grown with the audience. It's still getting a certain amount of tone right. I don't like it when some of these 80s cartoons and all of a sudden someone's talking like they would now. It's not this dialogue, or they're just using things just to be like puerile or crude sometimes, and I'm like, well, why would you do that? It's not.
Yeah, like Battle of the Planets, they're all banging each other in the back room and all that sort of thing. Yeah. In fact, I'll be into that.
Yeah. So even though like there's, I think like you read G.I. Joe in the comics and G.I. Joe and Transformers in the comics now, in a weird kind of way. Those comics and those stories are kind of like the stories we were playing out when we had the action figures. Because when I played with the action figures, it wasn't like the cartoon. People, they were exploding and characters were being killed off and this, that, and the other when you got the action figures. Because when you're a kid, you're not going, see you next week. That kind of thing. No one was going, knowledge is power at the end of it. The stakes were high when you had the action figures.
But we have had comics that have taken the kids like that. You've done, Tony, when you have like Batman having a shit and Spider-Man. Like,
some of the bootleg
there's
stuff
loads of that. The bootleg stuff where people have sort of taken the kids.
But then we're talking farce, aren't we? Then we're parody and farce, and that's if the parody's done right, it's fantastic.
Well, it was there was big prosecutions in the UK for the Rupert Bear parody, wasn't there?
Really?
The Crumb Rupert Bear parody. That's the Oz magazine trial went on for fucking years because someone glued Rupert Bear's head to a Crumb comic, and it was a massive trial at the Old Bailey.
Bloody hell!
Wow,
those trials.
It's a bit of a reaction nowadays, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So, I'm going to talk a bit about audience reaction later when I talk about that Action Comics book. Just an interesting thing.
So I mean, there's like
and the Swamp Thing book that's just come out as well.
Oh, that's true.
Which is do you know the backstory to that? So basically, a comic got banned in I think it was the late 80s because it was the same because it portrayed basically Swamp Thing meeting Jesus, and Jesus was a magician, and the cover would have had Swamp Thing being crucified, and everyone went, it's because at the time, and there was this sort of overarching sort of Christian fundamentalism back then, which is there still is in America. There's not so much here, I'd say, but it's kind of twisted slightly differently. You probably know better than I do, Matt, but it's still present. It's just slightly different. But one of the main reasons was they didn't want to upset. I think it was Time Warner or something like that was buying out DC at the time, and also the Michael Keaton's Batman was just about to come out, so they didn't want the bad publicity. And now it's just been released, and I loved it. I was chatting to Simon about this morning. I purposely didn't look at any of the reviews or listen to any reviews on it because I just wanted to make my own mind up because it's a favourite series of mine. I don't know whether you guys read it. Did you read Volume 2?
No, haven't read it.
No, it's such a good series, and I really enjoyed it. There's a little bit of carry on Jesus in it. There's a little bit of that going on, but spoilers: the father of the demon, the rhyming demon, turns up, and it's I absolutely, and it's still got the same DC Direct Currents page in it. It's still got the same adverts in it, and stuff like that. But then everyone's going, "Oh, how brave of DC to publish it," and I'm thinking. Really, to me, I was just a bit cynical and thought this is a cash grab. But the thing they didn't do is on the cover they've got Swamp Thing, the main cover, they've got Swamp Thing holding a lamb, which is, in my mind, a little olive branch to Christians who might not agree with it. But if you look at the cover, it should have been. It's basically Swamp Thing being crucified. Well, in fact, Swamp Thing is the cross. Yeah. He's been made into the cross.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they.
I thought the cover was still quite striking.
I liked the cover. I didn't dislike it, but I just think. I mean,
it's interesting when you got the backstory in it,
very much so. And he talks about Salman Rushdie in the back, the writer and everything. And I'm thinking, what would have been brave was to put Muhammad in it. Can you imagine the reaction?
Man, they're totally different.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a really interesting concept. I think it really needs explored. And it's a 4-issue miniseries, I think.
Yeah.
For these comics didn't come out. I think it's going to be quite an interesting one.
Comics, God, they're bloody amazing, aren't they? We can bring up so many fascinating different topics and angles, and just from this dialogue alone, there's probably a lot of our listeners going, "Well, you're not right there. I think you're quite wrong about this."
Absolutely.
And we are absolutely, because this is just our opinions or our thoughts or our pure emotional feelings. And I'm just going to kick this off with,
here we go.
Comic books can't be funny. Change my mind.
Can't be interesting. I think they can.
I didn't expect that. I thought they were immediately going to be on me with that.
I thought you said you'd prepared something. I thought it was going to be something more than that.
No. I just thought.
Let's have a vote then. Should we, out of the four of us, who thinks comics can be funny?
Me. Vote.
Me.
Well, all of us.
Tony votes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've laughed out loud at some comics. Not often. I'll be honest with you. Not often.
Laughing's a funny thing, though, because. Laughing's a funny thing.
Laughing's a funny thing, isn't it?
It's a funny thing, isn't it? But there's, for instance, sometimes when I'm watching a comedy film or a comedy show for the first time, if I'm watching it on my own, I won't always laugh out loud, right? I won't. If I'm watching it with someone else, all of a sudden or I'm in a cinema somewhere, I'm laughing out loud. When I'm watching it a second time, all of a sudden I start laughing. But sometimes that initial first time, it's almost like the comedy's happening to you. Does that make sense? You just sort of like, you just take it in. And then when you think about it afterwards, if you start telling someone at work, "Oh, I watched this show and this happened," and it just gets funnier and funnier and funnier. But it isn't always an immediate thing. And comics is have the same thing. Like sometimes I won't always laugh when I'm reading it, but then I'm more likely to laugh the next time. I'm more likely to be, "Oh yeah, it just gets funnier the more you look at it." Do you know what I mean?
All right. So since we all voted yes, where's the first time you remember laughing at a comic, Matt?
For me, it was this was around the same time, but it was probably the Giffen, DeMatteis, Kevin Maguire Justice League. That was the first time that I had seen superheroes, but it was really played for comedy. That was like a sitcom in comic book form, and the superhero adventure part of it really was secondary. It wasn't completely absent, but the primary focus of that comic was the interplay between the characters, and they made them all into sitcom archetype type characters, and I loved it. Like, it really blew my mind at the time. I think I was 12 or 13 when that first came out, and I think it really changed what I thought comics were, and it showed me what comics could be, that it could be something completely different, because I'd never really liked like the kiddie like Casper the Friendly Ghost or Archie comics, which did go more for humor with a younger skewing audience. Even at a young age, I started reading comics when I was like 6. As soon as I could read, basically, I was reading comics, but I always liked superheroes. So, fast forward to the Justice League book, that was a real eye-opener. And then the second one, if I can cite a second one, would be Ben Edlund's original run of The Tick.
Oh, that's
And that really was, laugh out loud funny. I recently found my old issues of The Tick, and they're really influential. The Tick is really influential on Steamroller Man. Most people who read it,
I can see that,
man.
Totally.
They get the similarity. It's like, oh, this reminds me of The Tick.
That's a good thing, though, right?
Reading those, I love it, because that was, again, that was such a formative comic for me as a young person reading The Tick. And that really was laugh out loud funny. I thought that was hilarious at the time, and I just, looking back at the issues today, I was like, damn, this still holds up. This is really well done comics.
Yeah.
So yeah, those would be my examples.
They're a great couple, yeah.
Comics that can be funny.
Can I jump in? Because I thought you were going to name the one I was going to name. And I actually think it's not the first time I laughed at comics. I think we've talked about that before, but mine was Ambush Bug. And when you said Keith Giffen, I thought, here we go. We're going for that. And any guesses when when Ambush Bug came out? Just off the top of your head?
88.
I think it was 85 or 86.
82.
Very good guess. 82. December 82.
Hey,
Wow.
I was the only one that completely guessed. I feel like.
Now, and when you look at it, it's a long time before Deadpool, and it's a longer time before Deadpool went that way funny.
Yes.
But Ambush Bug was so anarchic, and I guess I'd had a love for that anarchy from stuff like the Bash Street Kids and those sort of strips. Is that I immediately you had to invest a bit with Ambush Bug because there's a lot of talking in it, a lot of writing on it. But once you did and you fell into that groove, it used to make me laugh every time. I loved it. Yeah, I recently came across my old copies the other day when I was doing some listening. But yeah, that was a really funny, and it's a long time before that it became trendy for every fucking comic character to do that snarky, talking to camera bullshit. It was actually quite original, not totally original, but it felt fresher back then. Yeah. That was one of mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
That's a good one. That's a really good pick.
I've got a couple, but one that always stands out for me is when I first read Martial Law.
Okay.
And, there's
You're quite a dark individual, aren't you?
Yeah,
yeah. There's a bit where there's a superhero theme park, and all the supervillains they've got in custody break out and they invade the theme park and they kill the parents of this kid. And he goes like, you're now gonna have to grow up and become an Avenger and like get us back for their deaths. And they say like, where do you live? And the kid's like, Santa Monica. And you know the kick Superman does as a teen in Superman the movie.
Yeah.
The kid they go Santa Monica like that, and the Superman character like boots him into like orbit towards Santa Monica. And I remember laughing out loud.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, and there's a panel of like him doing this big kick, and then like the little kid in the top right hand corner, like going off into the sky. But yeah, I do have a dark sense of humor. That's
yeah.
But it caters for it, doesn't it? There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on.
It's a lot. Yeah. One of my favorites is that. Is it Jake Likes Onions? Like a 4-panel.
Oh yeah.
Grid.
Yeah. Did you? Somebody bought. Was it you, Vince? Bought me that book one Christmas.
I think I bought
it. It was you, damn it. Yeah. It's a good book. That. Yeah.
There's one like in an old West town, and they're playing Hangman. Saying like L goes, no, that's not it. And then it cuts, and it's like the cowboy says, "This is really fucked up shit." And you see the man hanging, and they're stitching on limbs as they get the guesses wrong, and it's like fucking hell. That's really.
Fuck it. I mean that's revealed a lot about Daniel Butcher there.
Yeah,
he is.
That's pretty good though. That's a good.
The
gag.
whole thing is really like, oh my god, the Jake Like Onions. Really check it out because I think most of it's on Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. It was done in that sort of square panel.
There's
format,
loads. There's lots of like funny like Instagram comics now that I think Matt, you absolutely nailed it for me with the Bwahaha version of the Justice League. That's it, I know there's obviously lots of comedic stuff with the Beano and whatever we were reading at the time, but I was just reading that stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I find the Beano more about anarchy and chaos.
Yeah.
And sort of those laugh out loud moments.
It's a cartoon caper rather than But I think having those, like you say, it is a small bomb goes off in your head like this is brilliant. And I think because it was the superheroes that we knew, like, oh, they're acting like this.
I showed my son that One Punch thing.
Yes. The One Punch is one of my favorite. It's one of the best pages of comics ever. I think when he knocks Guy Gardner out, I think it's just
not wishing to bring the podcast down again, but did you ever see the movie of the Justice League where they played heavily into that? They made it a sitcom. It was like a TV movie of the Justice League.
Oh no, never.
And it's got Fire and Ice. And Green Lantern and the Atom.
That's back
I know the one you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
It's like a
few of them
TV film.
They could have done with going to the gym, a couple of them, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean the thing about it is it works because it was the only one like that doing it. So it's got such a natural tone, and when everything starts copying that, it's a weaker version of it. You know, you get it right once, and everyone's just copying it. So I think that was my first one. Another one that stood out to me, that people won't necessarily think is a comedic comic, but there are moments that me and my mates, when we saw bits and we talk to each other, and then we repeat lines and laugh about them, is Preacher. Preacher's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, there are funny bits in Preacher.
Great
very much so.
There's some real brilliant.
He turns his head into a penis.
Yeah.
Or he's fucking a big pile of meat, or whatever it is he does.
Yeah,
shit like that.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Preacher's humor for me is spot on, but when you go to The Boys, some of that is it's too much for me, man.
It's over that. Yeah,
me too. It was too dark.
Too much.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's some would say that's the point of it, but I think and certainly there's creators find transgressive levels, don't they? Because he went and
if you think
the
TV series is bad, not bad is
rough.
Transgressive. Try reading the comic.
Yeah.
You mentioned Cross. Some of the scenes in that, I've laughed at it. It's I don't even want to describe that scene on this podcast because
yeah. And so humor in itself, there are classic moments of it. Do you find yourself laughing out loud more now at comics than you ever did when you were younger?
No, not at all. Yeah, the last time I did it was I think Hate. When Hate came back with Peter Bagg. And it's just the sort of angry rants and stuff made me laugh, but it was more like a bit relatable to more than anything with Bagg.
Is that not necessarily down to the comics themselves, but maybe more of just a personal sort of
personal taste definitely, and also they're basically comics that I was reading 20 years beforehand.
Yeah.
If not more. So they were a callback to older comics done in the same style almost.
Yeah.
But no, very rarely do I laugh out loud to a comic.
You meant you're going to talk about Carl Starks later, aren't you, Matthew? But his writing fucking gets me. I find his
Carl Starks is one of the writers that
I really liked Peacemaker Goes Hard.
Yeah.
Thought that was hilarious. Right, that's just my cup of tea, that comic.
Same art
I love
team
that too.
We're going to talk about later on I think. Is that that's right.
Yep. Same art team. I think it's a question of my sensibility has changed as I've gotten older, but also since I've been making my own comic, I'm sort of in the back of my mind, I'm appraising a humor comic. Since I do a humor comic, I'm appraising other humor comics in terms of, how did they set this joke up? And, that's a clever turn of phrase, or, so I can still appreciate them. There was a really good laugh out loud moment in End of Life #3.
I haven't read the third issue yet. Yeah, cool.
Okay, I won't spoil it for you, but it's very do you want me to say it?
Yeah, you can do, man. I don't mind.
Okay. So there's this assassin that his name is Big Cock, and he wears a giant rooster head over his own head, it's a giant rooster mask, like a sports mascot or a theme park character.
Yeah.
He's got a regular 3-piece suit on his body, but on his head is a chicken head. Yeah. And he's this monosyllabic villain, and all he says is big cock, big cock.
Great.
Doesn't say anything else. And the main character of the book, when he's fighting him, he's like, I can't tell whether you're saying big cock or whether you're just making a chicken noise, cock, right? So I did laugh out loud at that because I thought that's pretty funny. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I love that because it's wordplay, isn't it? I think it's very important because I guess there's two types of humor. There's obviously the visual humor, and what you do with words. And for me, a lot of the time, it is the wordplay that will get me more than an image in comics. Personally, right. I mean, what about you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's in the writing that's a great line. That it'll make me laugh. What someone said.
When you have character humor, as in the writer understands maybe characters they haven't created and make a humorous situation out of that. That's kind of if you got Cyclops being straight as an arrow and someone winding him up in the book, like I really like those moments when there's a writer's kind of confident enough, got the skill to make that humorous. Uh, Maybe people might like it as much, but when Joss Whedon was writing the X-Men, there's a bit when they're all like sitting around planning. It's like, right, Cyclops, you're going to do this. Kitty Pryde, you're going to do that. And Wolverine's like, what am I going to do? He's like, just sit there and have a beer. And he's like, sounds like a plan. And like that's a pretty good moment, because usually you're like, oh, we're going to give the badass thing to Wolverine, but like,
right,
he's going to sit and have a drink.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. I
think it's the dialogue mostly in comics. I'm just trying to think. If possible, I hate to sort of generalize, but for me, maybe it is.
Yeah.
I would always talk about Dr. and Quinch as being like one that made me laugh, and a good example of the fact that Alan Moore can be funny, and people don't give him enough credit for that. And there's a moment where they're pretending to be film directors. Do you remember that one?
No,
and
I don't
they're dressed up
one.
like one of them's got a monocle on and all this sort of shit. And someone brings them chocolate-covered ants, and he says, "These are royal blue, not Prussian blue. Take them away." And I remember as a kid laughing at that and thinking, "What a pair of fucking Tuesdays they are." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, it's an interesting point, isn't it? Because like, we talk about like some of these creators like being big names and they're doing these big epic stories or really dark stories, but I think, not all writers can write funny. They really can't.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes there's probably some writers who think, well, I can write whatever I want. Everyone thinks that their own jokes are funny, but let's be honest, cards on the table. Not everyone is really funny.
Yeah,
not everyone's funny.
Yeah,
some people you meet in person and they're very sort of quiet and sensible and considered. Like Giffen, when I met him, I was chatting to him, and it took me about 5 minutes to see a bit of sunlight for him, like showing that he's quite a funny geezer. Because I was like, all right, how are you? He's not just like this. And then I threw a few lines in, and he slowly warmed up, and then he started being funny. Yeah, it depends, doesn't it?
Cool.
I have to say, there's one bit in a comic, talk about laughing out loud, that I did laugh out loud about this morning. I was reading your comic, your new issue. Can I spoil 3 panels, Matt? Would you mind?
I'm happy for you to spoil whatever you want, because the comic is online on steamrollerman.com. So
I won't give it all up.
It's been out there for a while. So
yeah. But people should get a copy of it, because it's gorgeous and brilliant. But there's one bit where he's saved from going into this sort of astral chasm thing, where he's got like I forget the name of the sweet, and he wheels it around his
a licorice whip wrapped around his head.
He reels it around his roller head.
Right.
And then in 3 panels, and he just lets it go, but his head keeps spinning afterwards, and he sort of stops it. And that was pure comicking, man. That was so well done.
It's so interesting you say that, Tony.
So difficult to do that right, but it made me laugh.
Because the moment before that is what made me laugh, when he was rolling his head up and he's trying to talk and his mouth is getting covered. And like he's just going, that made me... So it's interesting that, that's the... Comics.
He's kind of give it a second, and he sort of span it backwards to get rid of the rope. And really well done, man. I have to say that's amongst many books in this, just absolutely brilliant comicking. Really was.
Yeah.
And
thanks so much.
That's the sort of thing I would write for someone, and I think, they can't pull that off.
Yeah.
And you being a writer, you can.
That's what I was going to say about when you guys were just mentioning, like, usually the writing is funnier than the art, because I thought, well, I wonder if that's because of the modern division of labor in most modern comics. If it's a writer-artist, like, I know exactly what I want when I come up with a gag, and I know, and I'm working on the wording of the dialogue at the same time as I'm drawing the expression on the face of the character. So I can make both work off of each other, and work the art and the writing can work together very easily, because I'm the person doing both. But if it's the writer coming up with a gag, really all they can do is say, for example, they write a line of dialogue and then they'll write a description for what's in the panel, and Superman has a sheepish expression on his face. That's all the writer can do. And then it's like, now it's in the ball's in your court. And if the artist is really strong with facial expressions, someone like Kevin Maguire, to go back to the Justice League, then you can the writer can sort of rest easy knowing that he's going to pull it off. All I have to do is write bashful expression, and I know this is going to work. But if it's a writer that has not worked with the artist before, or it's an artist whose strength is maybe not so much in facial expressions, then you've got that sort of room for something to fall through the cracks in the execution. And that's maybe why it's like, well, the line was funny, but the art was just okay or whatever. And I think it's much easier if it's a writer-artist doing it.
Yeah. I think it's also easier for writer-artists who know each other and have experience of how, because sometimes it's a difficult thing to explain. I would have to really consider how I would explain to you how to do those 3 panels. It's not, but you instinctively know because it's part of your story. But me to sit down and say, right, so they're wound up already from being hanging off the platform, blah blah. There's quite a lot to explain there.
Yeah, there's also with making like humor comics as well. There are extra challenges to it, especially when you're doing a longer form comic.
Definitely.
Because a lot of the classics that people will cite will be the newspaper funnies. Where you've got 4 panels. You like set up, middle bit. Bosh, you got the punchline. But when you've got a longer form story, you almost have to use that on each page. Each page almost has to have some sort of joke in some point. You got to keep the attention there. You got to keep without overdoing it. You got to find a balance, haven't you? Yeah. Was that tricky to do? Was that tricky to do?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the page by page thing because I originally published Steamroller Man as a webcomic. I was just putting a page up online at a time. As soon as I would finish a page, it would go online. And so I really tried to put like a joke on every page because I knew, it's going to be at least a week, maybe 2 weeks before I put the next page up. So I want to give people a laugh and a bit of value for it wasn't paid for, it was free, but you know what I mean, like a bit of value for their time sort of thing, and give them an experience of like, that was pretty good. Now wait 2 weeks till the next page because the story's so stretched out, so I have to give an amount of entertainment value on every page beyond just pushing the story forward. It had to be, what's the joke going to be on this page? And if it wasn't a joke, then it had to be at least a funny image or some kind of, something that made people smile, if not laugh out loud. Like I'm always going to get a laugh out loud moment, but if not, I at least want them to think like, that was pretty good. Kind of, even just that is better than no reaction at all.
But that's a normal reaction for you for a comedy comic, and I think it depends on the person. I'm one of those people who never ever talks to themselves, for example, and I think people who do, I work with people who keep having to look around the computer to see if they're talking to me and they're actually talking to themselves, and I think they're more likely to laugh out loud than I perhaps am because I sort of internalize a lot of it. I'm in a big Mad magazine fan, and I've read over 100 issues of Mad magazine. I can't remember laughing out loud, but it does fill me with joy still. It does amuse me. It does.
I've talked about many books where I'm like, this book is hilarious. My sides weren't hurting when I was reading it. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't crying with laughter, but like you say, it's completely just joy as you're reading it, I think. But do you think some people need to think about humour as well and telling a joke? Some people like the smell of their own farts too much, don't they? Do you know what I mean? If you think a joke's too funny, so you need to be careful about how you That's a strange metaphor.
Wait a minute. Explain that analogy. What are you talking about?
Some people like the smell of their own brand, Matt. We know there are some people like that.
Oh, I see. They find their own jokes too funny.
Funny, yeah. So there is that. You have to be careful, I think, because I guess when some people will pace out a joke, do you think people need to be careful, like, the punchline is on the next page turn? Do you know what I mean? This page is the setup for the joke. Do you think there's a danger in that, especially with like webcomics, isn't there?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is when it's a web, because I have like a couple of jokes where it is designed to be the punchline is the page turn.
Yeah.
But in that case, if you're still in a webcomic format, you still have to have something else happening on the page that is the setup.
Yeah.
That's also funny.
Yeah.
And then it sets up like another punchline almost. So that's what I was getting at when I was saying, like, if there's not a joke on that actual page, then I would at least try and put some kind of funny idea or a bit of wordplay or something. And then you've got the big sort of, and here's the, crazy punchline. When you turn the page, it reveals this. So
that is really interesting.
Tricky to do.
Really tricky. And when I read your comment this morning, I'd forgotten. I was reminded by when I got to a couple of pages that I'd read it before, but I didn't. When I started into it, I didn't really think of it as a page by page thing. Yeah, it really works as a single issue as well. Okay. Yeah.
That's
so
good.
The intention. Absolutely.
That was my intention.
Yeah. That's great. That's really interesting. Really being able to cross two formats like that at once. I think it's really clever.
Yeah. The homage to the Spider-Man cover.
I love
he's
that.
like Steamroller Man No More. I was like,
and you got a Remeter on the wall. That's nice as well.
It's really well done. It's
the interesting thing with that one was because I knew I wanted, I had the idea of like, I could do the classic like Amazing Spider-Man number 50 homage of him walking away from a garbage can. And in Spider-Man, he's walking away. You don't see his face. But I flipped it in Steamroller Man so that you saw their faces only because Steamroller Man's back is not as interesting to look at as his front. It's just a big blank block,
roller,
basically, of a head. There's the huge roller without the face on the front. It's sort of not
Spider-Man's
as interesting to look
costumes coming out the bin, which is a focal point. Whereas you don't have that element to play with, so you
don't have that either.
You have to interpret it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think you've managed to be funny.
And,
sorry, mate.
Yeah, it all works.
Yeah, I do think you managed to be funny with words as well as images, which, I mean, the image of him is, obviously intentionally hilarious in itself, but also you play on that by, what's the comment about, we've had to walk 10 blocks because you couldn't get your head into a cab. I love that comment.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the bit about, steamrollers move really quickly, so we've got no, and she's like, do they really though? There's another one like that.
Right.
And I'm like, I love this. So good. Yeah. So you're playing on the image and the image is playing on what you're saying as well. It works in both directions, I think. Yeah, very good, man.
Yeah, I'm basically trying to just get as many funny things into the comic in as many spots as I can. So
yeah.
I
got a little bit in the Mighty
hit with you landed.
Good. In the Mighty Yank, I got a little bit of Rick Veitch's Brat Pack. Am I right? Is it that?
Well, I've never read Rick Veitch's Brat Pack, so hopefully I'm not like reproducing something
I didn't mean,
that he already did.
It was a bit sort of, it's slightly different from the rest of the story because you're not exactly playing politics, but you're playing in that whole. It's a bit The Boys, isn't it? It's a bit that subverting the cliche of the Star Spangled Superhero, etc.
Yeah, can I tell briefly the story behind that page?
Yeah.
So I was in Australia visiting family at the time, and this was around the time that the ICE shootings in Minneapolis happened with Renee Good and Alex Preddy both got murdered by ICE agents, and that was really shocking to me, being a resident of the US but being back in Australia at the time and just watching the news and going like, oh my God, what is happening over there? And so there's a show on TV in Australia which covers US political news, but in sort of I don't know if you guys have access to shows like The Daily Show and Tonight with John, This Week with John Oliver. In the UK, but they do the similar
Mar
kind of
as well. We get as well, yeah.
So it's that kind of a show, It's two Australian hosts, and it's sort of like explaining the week's events to the audience, but with a touch of humor. And I have to say that seeing the Australian take on the news coming out of America, I won't say it was flippant, but it was sort of a little strange to watch having lived there. Yeah, it was sort of just like a feeling of being played for laughs. I got the sense of like, oh, you guys don't get it. Like, it's not a joke living over there. And I'm not saying they were making a joke of the shootings, but it was more like, oh, let's check in on what that funny old duffer Donald Trump's done this week.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, but it's people's lives.
Yeah,
I've had the
are affected by that stuff. So
I hope you won't be offended, but I've had the misfortune of watching Sky News Australia, which goes in the opposite. It does the opposite lampooning, doesn't it? And that's another mess of insensitivity in my view.
Right.
A lot of the time.
So I just got a feeling like I actually woke up in the middle of the night with the idea for this Mighty Yank page, just because I always wanted to do like one of those hostess fruit pie kind of parodies. And so I thought, I could do, and I'd come up with the idea for the Mighty Yank and Cloudy Dave, the two characters who are in this little one-page story. I'd come up with the idea for those characters a while ago, and it just all came together. You know, I had one of those moments where I just woke up in the middle of the night and was like, oh, I could do a hostess fruit pies ad with these two characters, and it would be sort of like making fun of both sides a little bit, because I do have a thing where the Mighty Yank is very much as if it's sort of like a cross between Captain America and the Punisher. Like he's a jingoistic rah-rah America character, but very gun heavy, pro-gun sort of guy.
Love it.
And then Cloudy Dave is like he's based on the dude from Big Lebowski, and he's very much like, hey, it's all going to be cool, man. And, I have a joke in there about
instantly comedy, right?
Yeah.
Straight off the rip.
Right.
One of my favourite bits in that is the guy with the sign. The guy with the sign in the background that says, nothing says you're serious about your cause like a funny sign. That's all it says on his sign. I like that,
So that's sort of a personal thing with me I really think people should protest about what they don't agree with. And I love that people are getting out in numbers. But when you look at protests that happen like in Europe or in South Korea, like they shut the place down. It's not like, well, it's a protest, but it's happening on the weekend, so we can all work, we can all still do our jobs, and we'll just come out for a pleasant afternoon and make a funny sign. And it's like protests in Europe are like, smash the state. We are going to take this place down.
Some of them in London. I mean, I actually keep my eye on when there's like massive big marches in London, because I don't go into the comic shop, because usually the tube's full of twats.
Well, and we got that tomorrow. It's May Day.
Happy
May. Isn't it the first bank holiday in May is like May Day, and it's where you're supposed to have protests and stuff.
I'm going in tomorrow as well.
Happy May Day, everyone.
I
don't want to, like, I normally try to not be political with Steamroller Man. Like, it really is a comic for a general audience that I want everyone to enjoy, and I don't want it to be political. But this was just like a product of a moment in time where I was like, do I do this story? Because it's a little bit political. It's not like overtly.
There's ways of handling it.
It doesn't read it overtly. Picking a side.
Yeah, and I think you handle it like really well. I mean, it's like when I recommended the Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre book.
Oh yes,
which there's comic book day comic that today. Do you know that?
That's was it really? Oh. And there's some bits in that are like completely over the top satire of like 80s Reaganist sort of stuff.
Yep.
And it is, it has that, but it still works for what it is for the comic. Do you know what I mean? It's not a.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a believer in what Voltaire says. I may not agree with what you say, but I believe in your right to right to express it.
Yeah.
I think it needs, as long as it's not an illegal expression of something or other, I kind of still agree with that.
Yeah.
If you kind of want your comic to have a bit of longevity, you got to be very careful about making like political jokes that are very current and of the moment.
That's true.
Because they date so quickly. Someone will pick it up in 6 months' time, like, what's this about? Like, I sent on a couple of comics to you guys this week, and I've had to read the comments to find out what it's about because it's so niche and political that I had no fucking idea. Like,
who's that geezer who claims he was kept as a sex slave or something at work? What's that all about this week?
JP Morgan.
And that turned out to be BS, didn't it?
Just a massive hoax. Well,
yeah,
not
talking about me then
that
for a
story. See, I feel sorry for the lady in there, but like we get loads and loads of memes and humor out of it.
Well, the thing about the internet now is, if anything happens in the world, no matter how dire and horrible it is, there will be memes. The world is a dark and fucking horrible place.
I didn't know about it, and a mate sent me some fucking gag, and I had to look it up, and then all I said was, "God, my work needs to step its game up."
Yeah.
That's all right.
So you joined in, Tony.
And obviously, like comedy can do many things, and humor can do many things. But it should always punch up. Do you know what I mean? The moment you start punching down,
right,
you fucking you lose a lot of people.
What? Explain to me what that means.
Yeah, I'm all about punching in every direction.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, Vince. So who would be beneath you to make a joke?
Everyone's beneath me.
No, but just generally, I'm not actually sure. I keep seeing people say it online. I don't know what it means.
Well, everyone's saying it online. Oh, I don't know.
I keep seeing it. I keep seeing it said online.
I think a lot of people say stuff like that and they don't always know what they're talking about.
I agree,
anyway.
absolutely, but I don't know what it means. Yeah.
But for me, it's like someone in a position of privilege making a joke about someone who hasn't done anything really, especially on a massively public. If you've got a public platform and you're doing well and you're making jokes about disabled people, or what, then fuck off.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's got no place. Do you know what I mean? And some people do, and I know. I also
just in bad taste then.
Bad. I mean, taste is a funny thing, isn't it? Because, like I said, there's dark humor as well, and but a lot
of dark humor's in bad taste.
Yeah. And I always say to people, just if it comes to humor, know your audience. Do you know what I mean? Know who you're talking to. You know, there are some people I know that are like really funny people that say like some jokes in bad taste, and they'll just say them to anyone. And when that happens, I can just feel the room change. You know, sort of like, why did you say that?
You got to be careful about that.
You just got to be careful. You know, I think a lot of the
I've
time.
often misstepped. And will continue to do so, making jokes that are like, this is the wrong audience for this.
Yeah. You can misjudge things, but
I think some people taking it wrong or taking it badly too far as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. There is levels to this game, but there's also what makes it so tricky as well, especially now, is everyone has their red buttons. Everyone has their pressure points.
Or they have fake pressure points.
Yeah.
But they think also, they shouldn't laugh about something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The people that get on their high horse, that's another thing as well. But there are people also that can say, "I'll laugh about anything," and you make a certain joke, and all of a sudden it hits, and they're like, "Hold on, mate."
Yeah.
Everyone. I think sometimes we have to be careful about what we say when we say it, and that's why, bringing it back to like humor comics and things like that, I kind of appreciate the humor comics more that are less about going for shock, because I think shock has a real short shelf life, whereas some good jokes in comics last forever. I can look at some Liberty Meadow stuff, some Calvin and Hobbes stuff. It's still as funny now, it's still as fresh now as the day it came out. But you know what I mean? A shock joke may make me laugh.
Well, I think what you're saying there, and it's something I was going to say earlier, is humour isn't universal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much depends where you're from in the world as to what you find funny.
Yeah.
People like you say, Japan will find something different funny than here.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think there's a way that you can structure jokes that you can get a laugh out of almost anybody, and that's by moving out of the area of, I'm not making a joke about a particular, it's a different style of humor.
Yeah.
Because the punching down thing, I think, is, you don't want to make a joke of a certain person's or a certain group's lifestyle or race or whatever, unless you're
so particular,
intimately involved in that group. Like, if you're part of that group, then you can.
I would then it disagree becomes, on a level.
Well, I'm laughing at myself.
Mate, I disagree with you on a level there, mate. Yeah. I would say in general terms, I think you're right. But making a joke about a lifestyle, I could make a joke about furries. It would still be funny.
Yeah.
But I could also make it in a way that a furry might laugh about it, for example.
Well, because humour can also be. That's the thing is, humour can also be cruel, and and you do notice it sometimes. Sometimes when you hear a joke, it's like that's not you being a joke. That's you being a bastard. Do you know what I mean? And I think we can all judge when some people have just think, actually, you're just being a prick and calling yourself a comedian. But like you say, like everything is subjective. Everyone's got their different audiences. There's a lot of people who found the Adam Sandler films Grown Ups 1 and 2 funny. I don't know who they are, but a lot of people did.
Or that one about Halloween. What the fuck was that all about?
Little Nicky, was that one?
No, the more recent one.
The more recent one. I just don't.
It's like a Netflix
I don't get
special.
It. I don't get it. But there's money to be made in this stuff. So so perhaps I should look at myself.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think you can be funny by being cruel. I do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I think you can.
I mean, it's
I think it's slippery slope.
When we talk about this now, I find it hard
comedians who make a lot of money out being cruel.
Yeah, there are a lot of comedians who make a lot of money out being cruel. Not always. But like you say,
who's the Scottish dude with the ginger beard? I always used to find him funny. He's terribly
Frankie Boyle.
Frankie Boyle. Yeah. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't.
It was like
it all depends on the joke. It's a pressure point.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I think you can do it.
Yeah.
It's...
there's a lot of people who found Ricky Gervais hugely funny when he started his stand-up, and
I did.
There's a lot. I did.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily.
I think you can make.
Isn't a lot of the comedy and humor from comedians like Ricky Gervais coming from a shock value? Oh my God, I can't believe he actually just said that out loud in public in front of an audience.
I think he's a storyteller. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like Ricky Gervais. Certainly recently, I know that he's sort of people have taken against him, but I think I find him an interesting storyteller.
It's certainly comedians and comedy writers and stuff. It's interesting.
People found Dice Clay funny for years.
Yeah, and
that's true.
And it's the way like these comedians as well sort of react when it turns on them. That sort of, or because the public perception, because it's fish and chip paper, a lot of it. Do you know what I mean?
I think the funniest comic out there for me is Viz, and Viz is cruel about lots of people and types of people. And, yeah.
But then it's always kind of self-depreciating. They're always taking the piss out of themselves as well.
Yeah.
Which helps because...
and you get like, the Family Guy sort of type humour and stuff, which was popular for, it still is popular, isn't it? All of that stuff.
There's a generational aspect to humour as well. Absolutely. I remember I was talking about this the other day with you. Do you remember when I don't know if you had this, Matt, but I think maybe in Australia you might have had this as well, because I know some of them were big down there. When you had we had like the young ones era of the comic strip presents, they came in and they were very much against the sort of previous fat comedians in bow ties telling jokes on television and stuff like the Carry On films and Confessions of a Window Cleaner, and they were very against all that. Love Thy Neighbour, all this sort of thing. And then all those fucking geezers did Carry On Columbus, and I'm like, what the fuck has happened there? And that was the least funny film I've ever seen in my life.
We're discussing Young Ones doesn't hold up.
No,
Young Ones doesn't hold up.
Really? I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but
at the time it's very kind of like anarchic and punk and kind of against the structure of what was going on in comedy at that time. And then you rewatch it now, and it's like it's got its moments, sure, but generally it's a kind of.
But to me, what they were railing against, like something like Fawlty Towers or
Forty Tales holds up.
Blackadder stands up. I think
Blackadder,
Forty Tales stands up, and I think it's just funny or it's not funny, guys. That's I think quantifying it's so difficult. I mean, we got like a house on fire, the four of us, but we've all got different opinions on it. But I just think you can't often quantify it.
And also, like, as much as I made a joke about those Adam Sandler films, there's people I know who probably like them, and I still like those people. Do you know what I mean?
I like the golfing ones. I like those golfing ones. I don't care.
Well, Happy Gilmore's a good film. Let's not.
I fucking love the sequel, guys. I know.
Right. Okay, but it perfectly proves it. Comedy is absolutely subjective, and at the end of the day, if you get some enjoyment out of it and you're not hurting anyone, then
Matthew, I don't know about hurting people. I'm up for hurting people. Matthew, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. You're going to rant a little bit about a style of humour.
Oh, so I mean, I don't want to be mean about it because I know everyone's just trying to have fun and make their comics and stuff. But I have noticed that there's with web comics particularly, there's almost like a subgenre of comics that feel like they're a gag comic. It's like a 4-panel gag, but there's no punchline. The punchline, I call them, the punchline is feelings comics because you get to the end and the last panel which you expect is gonna be it's like hug.
I know. Oh my god, it makes me cringe so much. And the thing about this, some of them are written by blokes my age, and I'm like, what are you fucking doing?
Some of the stuff I get,
those baffle me.
Yeah,
some of the ones I get up on Reddit, like they get thousands, hundreds of thousands of upvotes, and it's generally the punchline's porn. Like just like there's a girl and she's trying to decide which
switched again.
She's trying to decide which dildo she's going for, the unconventional one. That's the joke.
Oh God.
What's the there's no
is this the dark web you're looking at again, is it? I've told you about that.
That's the only web he knows.
I'm trying to scroll on Reddit now to find one of the examples, but like it's just beyond me. Like there's no joke. There's nothing funny there.
There was one I read a while ago that was just the punchline of one of them was "Yay cats," and I'm like,
exactly. That's the sort of thing that I'm talking about. It's like, what is the joke? I don't.
And also,
I'm not laughing.
I think some people make comics like this silent medium, and they make them like they've got voiceovers. Or like the character speaking. Oh, people will understand it because I'm saying, "Yay, cats!" So it's done in a silly, but no one will fucking get that because it's it doesn't work. And I don't think
people love them. People get so many likes. I know. I don't.
Yeah, so clearly there is an audience for that sort of. I'm just saying I do not get it personally,
and I'm with you.
That does not make me laugh at all. But obviously, there are thousands of people online who love those kind of comics. I don't know.
I'm with you, and you're absolutely right. And perhaps there shouldn't be a comic. There should be a comic about a lovable face hugger. Perhaps I'm wrong. There's comics.
Yay, face hugger!
Hey, heart emoji. Yeah, but it's fascinating, isn't it? Because I
think one comment we haven't mentioned is Simon Hanselman's. Is it Meg and Mog?
That
is fucking insane because like that doesn't make jokes in the conventional sense, but like the characters' lives are an absolute car crash, and just watching it play out, the humor in that is just
The
one that sold me on that
like Fabulous Freak Brothers are like that, aren't they?
Yeah,
there's an element to that there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not so much like the gags, but just like the way scenarios are playing out. You're like, my God.
Yeah, I mean, we unfortunately we fall into examining all humour in this, haven't we? I mean, when you say the comics, I think you're right, man. That's the problem. But I think communicating something funny on a page is difficult. In the same way, it's communicating horror on a page is difficult. It's just you need to be in a groove, in a groove for it sometimes, and it does help if you're a fucking if you're a funny person.
Yeah.
I think that's funny as well. It communicates that tone communicates. Like with Ben England, back with Peter Bagg, like with Matt. It communicates across.
They don't always necessarily have to be like sometimes you could know the funniest bloke in the pub couldn't do stand up to save their life. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't, but there are some people as well, aren't they? That are funny, natural people who couldn't write a funny comic or couldn't do stand up. But there's probably some quiet people who you wouldn't know can just tell.
But I think funny's funny sometimes. I think you can tell with some people, but you're right though. It takes a while to break it down.
Yeah, I think with those people sometimes it's the way they react to other funny things happening. Like you say, you have an interaction, and that person suddenly they laugh at something. You're like, oh, you get it.
We're back to that thing that Dan was talking about making eye contact across an office or across a room when something funny happens, and there's just that connection, and someone was doing something in our office. I told the boys about it earlier, and I was like, I just looked at someone, and he looked at me, and in that moment we just laughed because we knew exactly what each other was thinking. So it's just so unquantifiable being funny. Yeah. But if you got it, you got it sometimes, whether it be on the page or be in person or telling a story or telling a joke or singing a song. There's all sorts of things. It's just funny, and I couldn't write down what is funny, honestly. Yeah. But I just know that some things tickle me and some things don't, and and there's all kinds of.
I think a good example of that was, I don't know if you guys read the recent Mad About DC special.
No, I haven't
DC
yet. No.
Published. I had really high hopes for that comic, and Vince said something at the beginning of the show that not everybody can write funny. Like, not every writer is able to actually write funny stuff.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I came away with that feeling after reading Mad About DC. I was a huge reader and fan of Mad Magazine as a kid. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome because it's going to all be jokes about, DC comic characters and stuff. And there were very few stories in that actually made me laugh. And a lot of them I was like, where's the joke in this one? This is there's no joke here. I don't know what's supposed to be funny in this part.
Yeah, and
I did find the stuff that Kyle Starks wrote in it actually made me laugh, which
good.
He's a funny dude.
Once again, recommend his
maybe
stuff.
It's with these sort of hallowed characters that have been about for 8 years. They don't want to say stuff. We're all surprised when
it could be
some of the comics and some of the movies lent into the fact that Aquaman fucked fish. Yeah. Remember when that happened? It's sort of
at the end of the day, Tony, Batman's a billionaire. He should be spending his money to do
help the poor.
As we all know that. But we'd be interested to see, what some genuinely funny comics you like, listeners. Sound off in the Slack. Just, if anything, it's just some more stuff for us to check out, and please recommend some stuff to us. And I'm sure there'll be all kinds of stuff from all through the decades to modern to probably ancient. Some of our listeners they're well versed in their very old comics.
Can I say I think this is the biggest we've disagreed on here before.
Been a little while.
Yeah. I liked it because it was still even-handed, wasn't it?
Well, we disagree.
That's what the internet should be.
We disagree, but
be more like the ACP.
Try and be like that on the Slack, right? You can have disagreements with people, and it's not kind of end of the world. We're all human beings with different opinions and feelings and stuff. I think
back Simon again. I think Simon said it to me. He said, "I'm glad you enjoyed it. I didn't quite get it," and I'm thinking, "Okay, that's fine."
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Life is a case-by-case basis.
And it just...
I'm
it also comes down to what you said earlier, which is humor is one of the most subjective things in the human experience. Is what makes certain people laugh is not going to make another person laugh. So, it's
absolutely. You could distill it almost down to someone falling over is funny, but then you'll get someone who say, what if they hurt themselves or something like that? There's that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Dad
just went, it's funny.
Always, never not funny.
I had an aunt who would laugh like a fucking drain at Even Framed when they've got people falling over. It was the fucking funniest thing ever. She would bust a gut. It was like, what are you getting out of this? But like you said, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
But please do let us know what you think. And I thoroughly enjoyed this chat.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Me too.
And we got to hear all about
Yeah.
Matthew comic.
Yeah.
As well.
An anecdote that Frankie Boyle told.
No,
it's not that bad.
Okay,
he
good.
was like waiting for a bus in Scotland. He goes, "This is what Scotland's like," and he saw some drunk guy staggering along the road, and he leant up against this door and it had a pee all over it, and then he got his key out and let himself in. And it was just...
He's kind of walked it back a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah,
his
yeah.
comedy. Remember that joke he made about Jordan and all this sort of thing? And he's like,
he's kind of not wanted it. I think he wanted to carry on having a career, so he kind of walked it back a bit. But
Yeah.
His old stuff's on YouTube and it's fucking very dark, but very funny.
Also a comic writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wrote for Clint, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he did.
Cool, blimey.
Indeed.
Remember that. But from the topic to the rest of the show, and we've got some recommends to get through before we let you get on with the rest of your week. But before that, any shout-outs this week, gents?
I've only got two very quick ones. Thanks to everyone who was so nice about Eamon and mine's 4 Cartoonists series we did over at NIA. Really kind of everyone. And I've just sent, I think you two boys listened to Barn about a future guest on here as well, didn't you? It was quite good, which was me and Al and Eamon. So the last one we did was Ralph Stillman. Go and have a listen to it. Big shout out to our brother Cliff. He's had a bit of those who follow him on social media will know he's had a bit of a difficult few days. So just sending much love to Cliff. There you go.
Sorry about that, Cliff.
That's my two.
Nice. What have you got, Dan?
I've got Comics Assemble. Go to comicsassemble.net. The guests include Jim Zub, Sabine Rich, Peter Hogan, and many more to be announced. That's on August 15th, 2026 in Gloucester Leisure Centre. And you've still got time to go along to Lawless, which is 9th and 10th of May, 2026. Doubletree Bar Hilton Hotel, Bristol, BS1 6NJ. So next week I can start talking about Lawless 2027. So let me know, Sue. I'll start shouting that out. We've got the guys, number 8. The guys are back just in time to face the combined might of the deadliest foes, the Prober, Mindo, the Shifter, and the Huntsman. That's smashed for its goal by Rich Carrington. Talking about humour comics, that's what the guy's all about. If you like that kind of superhero humour comics, that's one to go for. Releasing scene from Jordan Thomas, we've got The Gods and Monsters of Headgrave, an original graphic novel, a 120-page original graphic novel telling the complete story of aliens, madness, conspiracy, Nazis, family in pre-World War II England. That sounds fantastic. Can't wait for that one to kick off. And I think that's it for me.
Nice.
Cool.
So without further ado, let's recommend some comics to you lovely listeners who have sat so patiently and no doubt have been laughing along to our jokes. It's been quite funny, hasn't it? I think it's been quite funny. What? So to get you reading on the rest of your week, and the guest goes first. Matthew, what would you like to recommend to our lovely listeners?
Well, I've mentioned it earlier in the show, but my recommendation was going to be End of Life, which is one of the new Vertigo line from DC. It's written by Kyle Starks and with art by Steve Pugh. The premise of this is a hitman named Eddie Stallion mistakenly robs another hitman and has to go on the run. He returns to his small hometown, confronting the ghosts of his past. He has to reconcile with his dad, who is also a retired assassin.
Who wants to kill him for most of this, isn't he?
Yeah, they hate each other. And he's got to deal with this unending... There's been a bounty put out on his head because he robbed the head of this organization of assassins. It's a bit of a flavor of like John Wick, where there's this secret cabal of assassins and they've all been named after different animals. So that's why Eddie Stallion, he's the stallion. He's got a bounty put out on his head, and so there's this unending parade of assassins coming to town trying to take him out. It's really a fun book, funny scripting and dialogue from Kyle Starks as usual. But for my money, the real star of this book is Steve Pugh, who I think is one of the most underrated artists working in comics today. I really love his artwork. He draws the most amazing, realistic facial expressions.
Yeah.
He has the skill level of someone like Dave Stevens or Adam Hughes or Kevin Maguire in terms of
or Steve Dillon,
really
capturing. I feel like, yeah,
Steve Dillon too, yeah, really capturing a specific facial expression, and a lot of that is what the humor turns on. Like, it makes it even funnier. Steve Pugh is one of those like guys who can just draw anything incredibly well. So that's my recommendation: is End of Life.
I read the first two of these. I'm reading it on the app, Matthew. So I'm a little bit behind. But I was a bit critical of this because the first cover made it look like, what's his name?
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice was the character, and I thought, I can't be bothered. And in all honesty, I'd have added this to my pull list, I think, because I really dig it. It's everyone in it is horrible, but everyone in it is nice. Is you like to read about as well. There's the woman in the garage. There's the people he beats up on the forecourt of the garage. There's the sort of the when he figures out in issue 2 that his dad's actually quite a big part of the town, and then there's that little twist about the dad as well. Yeah, it feels partly like an old Vertigo book, but also reminds me like something you'd have found in UK Crisis or something like that as well. It's got that quality of anarchy and just awful people to it. Yeah, no, really good. I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
It's interesting to see how those Vertigo books are doing as well, because I know we did that little piece just before they were all launching, so it's nice.
Yeah, I'm walking it back on that one. I really like it. Yeah.
I wish I'd have picked this up. Maybe this is a trade for me.
I think so. Yeah.
It sounds like
be a nice little pack trade. Yeah, who's doing the colour on that? I can't remember, Matt. Is it?
I can't remember. I don't have the comic.
It's got a nice sort of OG Vertigo colour to it as well. For me, it looks nice. Yeah.
I can do a quick Google search. If you liked the book, Peacemaker Tries Hard, which I think came out like a year or two ago from DC. It's the same creative team, and it's the same flavor of anarchistic kind of action with, comedy. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think
I'm going to say Peacemaker Tries Hard is a little bit goes for the gross out humor, not gross out. That's wrong.
True.
Goes a bit more for the funny. This is a bit more soap opera-y, but it's still funny in that the lead character is fucking objectionable in that way as well. Yeah, no, it is good. Nice. They could do something with the logo.
Colorist, I just found out the colorist is Chris O'Halloran.
Oh, nice work. Oh, yeah,
comic.
Yeah.
So,
nice
one, man.
Tony,
I've got a Steve Pugh original. He drew Master of Kung Fu in an issue.
You do?
So, yeah. And very awesome. Reasonable. Really reasonable, actually. Yeah, it's worth having a look at his stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go with Action, The Sevenpenny Nightmare by Steve Holland, which is from Bear Alley Books, which is a book. It's weird, isn't it? Everyone forgets about this comic, Action, the UK British weekly, which we're talking about, not the American Superman comic. And it hit its 50th anniversary. And since then, it's kind of been in our eye line a lot, isn't it? So they're repackaging the original issues and putting them out in lovely hardback collections. We're getting a new version of Action, which there was a signing at Forbidden Planet, I believe, today, same day as Free Comic Book Day. So that was nice. It was very short-lived. I think it was only like 8 months or something it ran for.
Right, wow.
But what it does, coming after Battle and being before 2000 AD, it very much lays the groundwork for 2000 AD. And it was... I missed there was a book called Action, The Story of a Violent Comic by Martin Barker that came out in the 80s that I missed buying it at the time, and I remember seeing him at a UCAC panel talking about it. And it's a sort of slightly drier, less image heavy, paperback sized version of what this book does as well. But I've been looking at it for years, trying to find it, and it's just too expensive. So I was nice to see this when it came out. So it got a bad name for a number of reasons, mostly for being too violent back in the day. And it appeared on the 6 o'clock news. And Frank. Anyone know Frank Boff? Anyone remember that name, Frank
Yes,
Boff?
Yeah, I
God,
remember
yeah,
Frank
yeah.
Boff.
Frank and Nesta Boff. He was a sort of newsreader, and they travel. Frank and Nesta, his wife, they travel about in their camper van across the UK, doing little stories about local places. Until there was a big expose on Frank Boff, who was into drugs and prostitutes.
Good times.
Whoa.
Yeah, good times. Yeah. So his cocaine use may have caused him to. You can only guess. May have caused him to rip up a copy of Action Comics on the evening news. So
Excellent.
everyone was against this comic, and in it, the opening pages pose quotes from people critical of the comic in big red paint across black and white images of the comics, which I think is a great idea. And the anger from certain people is distilled across it and stuff like the cover shows teenage thugs beating up a policeman. That was quite a big one. Pat talks about the main mistake in that, and being in the colouring made it look like a police uniform. An international diplomat dissolves in agony as sulfuric acid gushes from his bathroom shower. Another quote is, a giant shark snaps off a man's head in one crimson splash chomp. I think all of those quotes would, if I heard them at a certain age, would immediately make me go and buy this comic. So I can only think it was like, it would have been good advertising for this. The comics, at a glance, maybe for today's market, may seem a little dated, but they do also regularly go above and beyond in a little bit of satire and a lot of gore, a lot of violence as well.
Okay.
And I think when we go back, and it depends how old you are, but when you go back and read comics from a much earlier age, sometimes they do look dated, but when you throw yourself into actually reading them, they become more readable and more enjoyable. So invest in these pages and start reading them, and they're only 3 or 4 page stories sometimes, and you will become much more into it. It came in the 70s, when I think I'm probably the only person who remembers the UK in the 70s here, but it was like a fucking political mess. We hardly had electricity. 4-day weeks. Everyone was on strike, including the bin men, for a long periods of time. Money was really tight. Well, not unlike now, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it beat this path, and one of the main reasons for that is Pat Mills. Pat did what Pat does well. He'd done it with John Wagner on Battle. He did it on Action with other people. He did it on 2000 AD. He did it on Misty. He did it on Crisis. He did it on all number of comics, where he sort of jumps in, sets it all up, stays there for a while, and then moves on to the next comic. And he did that here. It also fell within that period when we were getting stuff. We had punk music that was being objected against. There was a lot of movie stuff going on. The Devils, and a lot of movies were being objected against. It was shortly before, a number of years just before, we got video nasties, for example. The satanic music scandal of the 70s and 80s, Tipper Gore, all these sort of people. The real area, I know we talked about it earlier with something, but the real area of Christian fundamentalism, which I know has taken a little step forward again in your fine country, Matt, but it's in a sort of slightly different way. But this had such talent on it, and you also had The Running Man as a story in there, which was a favourite of mine, Hook Jaw, which they've tried to bring back a few times, haven't they? So Pat and the others were kind of paralleling things that were going on in TV and movies. So Hookjaw has a Jaws-esque quality to it. Death Game 1999, which became, I think it's called Spinball, which is very much like Rollerball. Dredger, which was very like Dirty Harry. Hell's Highway, Helmand Province is sort of a Nazi war story. Kids Are All Okay, which is the story that caused all the problems. And alongside, like, so many more, but all that really, really good money. This is only 26 quid, by the way. It's A4, 179 colour pages, and it recreates so much. Not only do you get strips and covers, but you get you got whole stories. You get photographs of the people at the time involved in it, things that happened due to it. It's the stories that some stories did continue. It continues to be one of the most infamous and talked about comics again. Here's some of the talent on it as well as Pat. You had Carlos Esquera, Doug Church again, Don Lawrence, Frank Bellamy, Eric Bradbury, Mike Dorey, Kevin Gosnell, Jerry Finley Day, Stephen McManus, Ramon Solo, Massimo Bellardinelli, a favourite of mine, Tom Tully, Alan Hebden, and others. So it's a really interesting book. Go to Bear Alley, and you'll be able to find a copy. I also bought. They do also do a few other books about the history of comics on there. This is a really good really good book to get on the history of comics. I read it in like 2 days. I think Mega City Book Club are going to do an episode on it. Amy was telling me, and that will be a really brilliant dive into it. I think it's going to be worth it. But yeah, good stuff. There you go. They're called the Sevenpenny Nightmare by Steve Holland.
Nice.
How long did the original Action comic run for?
I think it was 8 months, so then it got sort of repackaged.
Oh, really?
Then there was a break, and it got repackaged in a much sort of softer version, and then it eventually joined with, is it Stormforce, Vince?
Battle? Or was it Eagle?
Battle.
Or Eagle, because Eagle was hoovering up lots of stuff.
I think it was Eagle then, yeah.
Because Battle was eventually became Eagle, and I know Eagle sort of swallowed up a lot of stuff, didn't it? I think. Yeah,
then it came back for a bit, but yeah, it's only 8 months for the main version of it.
Wow.
The infamous cover that they made the character like blue, like a policeman.
Yeah, so the kid on the floor, there's a kid with a sort of bike chain over his head, and there was what looked like a policeman on the floor, and I think it was down to the colour department making it look like it was a policeman.
I think isn't there the policeman the helmet there, and then a guy lying on the floor. So the fact they coloured it blue isn't sort of like linking. Oh, that was a policeman, or it's like. And Pat was like, "Oh man, why'd you do that?"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's talked to us about that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
There's a couple of stories from Kids Are All Okay. They put a whole story in here for it actually, as well as some of the football stories. There's whole let me quickly show you. So there's almost whole strips in here as well, which is pretty good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Really good.
It's a bit far fetched. A load of kids going en masse into shops and smashing stuff up.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that happening.
Have you seen all those people who are running into Scientology buildings now and doing a run around them?
Yeah.
Seen that?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kids rule. Okay.
Yeah. L. Ron Cupboard.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in first before I'm gonna sandwich Dan on either side.
Excellent.
Again, with my first recommendation, which is a Comixology original, which I read because it's part of the Prime reading, Kindle Unlimited kind of thing. I don't know what the difference is between like Prime reading and Kindle Unlimited. One of them you kind of have to pay.
Scooby-Doo.
I think you got to pay for. All I know is there's a certain. I mean, as we've spoken on the show before, if you have Prime, there's a bit of a library. You can take out like 12 comics out, and and one's not every book, but there are some lots of titles that they have, and of course they have the Comixology originals on there, of which I don't know how. I think Scott Snyder did a whole load, didn't he? Like a couple of years ago.
Yep.
But the one that came across sort of, it was in the corner of my eye, and I thought, I'll just rent that. It's like going to a library, isn't it? I guess that's what the modern digital library
works. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like a digital version.
Yeah, because essentially it will tell me, oh, you can't take out any more books, and then then you have to sort of return it, as it were. But I read
nicely old-fashioned.
Yeah, I read Stillman, which is by the writer is Kurt Pyers. It could be Perez. There's a few different artists on it. Each issue, it's about a hitman. Each issue is a new target, a new story, and there's a different artist on each issue. It's 5 issues. I ended up just rinsing through them. The synopsis is: Peter Stillman leads a double life. By day, he is a successful family man with a loving wife and 2 beautiful children, trying to carve out his own little slice of the American dream. By night, his real life as a violent hitman with deep ties to organised crime. So, it doesn't sound like the most original thing in the world, and to be honest, it isn't. But it does those things really nicely. It's a little less. The art styles are really nice. I didn't realise when I read through this, because I was just reading for the story, and I was really enjoying it. Stillman himself looks pretty cool because he looks a little. He's got like a 60s style to him, great. He's got a moustache and greying at the sides, almost like a Marvel editor from the 60s, that kind of thing. So the story itself is a retread. We've seen this many assassins leading a double life. But for me, this was handled quite well. I did not know that the artist changed on each issue because they keep the styles the same. I'm so used to like when series change up artists, sometimes it varies wildly, doesn't it, from issue to issue, so much so that it takes you out of the story. I actually didn't realise until I read the synopsis, hang on, is there a different artist in every issue? And I went back and I was like, oh shit. In the last two issues, issues 4 and 5, it is the same artist. We've got Sunando C on the first one. We've also got Alex Diotto, Stefan Toshev, and for the last two is Luca Casalanguida. I've murdered pretty much all those names.
Perfect.
Yeah. And the art style itself is, it's got slightly sort of a realistic tint. It's reminiscent of an art style, and I can't. It escapes me at the moment. But it's just really well handled. There's one particular issue I quite like, where it does like the two stories, because you do see a lot of his family. It's not like one of those stories that's all about him and you don't see his family. You do see his like family life, and it keeps flipping between him doing this hit and his family at a day like a Disneyland like park, and the sort of parallels, the way they do that sort of the page turns and the rhythm of how that whole day sort of plays out. They're doing this what these two people are doing at the same time. It's just handled really well. I did sort of think afterwards it starts strong. The first issue was kind of like what hooked me in, and it's a quick read. This is a quick read. It's not one of those ones that there's not long monologues and diatribes from assassins pondering about the meaning of life. There's none of that nonsense in this. It's just a nice sort of taut little crime thriller. At the beginning there is of course his first hit, which you see at the beginning, and then it sort of cuts back and we build up to that moment, and he's killing someone in a police cell, in jail. He gets to, and you find out how he gets past the guards and stuff, and I thought, what's that ring a bell? And then as I was reading it, you find out about the person he's that's been murdered in the jail cell, and I looked back afterwards, I was like, oh, I know who that is, because it's very reminiscent of a certain person who had an island.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, oh, it's not that they don't name it like that, but the artist has clearly maybe taken some sort of reference.
Okay.
That. Yeah. And I was thinking, but not so on the nose. It's tweaked enough, but it sort of echoed a little bit in my head. I didn't think about that till afterwards. Yeah. So I'm not, and to be honest, when I saw that, I'm not sure how I feel about that in a weird way.
Do you know, sometimes I was thinking about this last week, sometimes when people reveal the little origins or influences that led them to do a comic, it kind of takes it away from it a little bit for me.
Yeah. So, and to be honest, from the rest of the nothing comes back to that. The rest of the story goes off in its own direction, and there's other hits that are different people and things like that. It's got nothing. It's not all about that. That was just one moment that I think maybe because I've drawn attention to it, takes away from it a little bit. I'm like, oh, yeah. So that's quite interesting. But the end of the story as well, I quite liked it as just being like a well-handled sort of crime thriller. And I thought, I know what this is going to be when it gets to issue 5. And issue 5 sort of open-ends it to a point of like, I'm unsure. I like the potential of that, but also I don't want to read that. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. If anyone wants to read this, anyone wants to read this.
It's not about a face hugger, is it?
Well, turns out they're quite friendly.
Cutesy.
Yeah. So Stillman, it's one of those ones. People might overlook it because the covers are quite sort of simple as well. And it's 5 issues on Comixology Originals or on Kindle or whatever.
That Kurt Piers did Weird as well, which is WYRD, if you ever read that.
No.
Shout out to Harris. She got me a copy a few years ago. Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a well-written book, this. It's got a real nice rhythm to it. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's worth checking out. Stillman. Dan, over to you.
I've got Skating Wilder, which lovely Tony got me a copy of.
Nice.
It's written by Brandon Dumas, is it? Dumais?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Drawn by AJ Dungo, which it's an amazing book. I've read it twice in the week because I was like, I need a book for Sunday, and I've been saving this one, and I thought I'm going to dive in.
We were going to save this. Let's be honest. We were going to save this because we were trying to get AJ on, and he had a few things come up. Yeah, so we're talking about it now.
I've pulled. Yeah, I was like, I'm going to read it. I can't wait any longer. And it frames the AJ's illustrating Brandon's story of he's got to go back home, and as Tony mentioned before in his review, he's got to go back home and clear out his old room because his parents are moving out of the house, and he rediscovers like when he was a kid teen, he was massively into skateboarding. He's got like magazines,
like a shrine
posters.
to it, almost,
Yes,
isn't it?
his
Yeah.
whole room's like decked out in skateboarding, and through that sort of like framing, we travel back, and he gives us a history of how skating began, how the culture evolved. I didn't realize kind of how heavily entwined it was with kind of like punk and counterculture. It was a real eye opener. I found it fascinating.
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier, weren't you? You were talking about the parallels between comics and
Yes,
skateboarding in a similar way. Yeah,
in the end, like skateboarding has been taken over by a lot of commercial enterprises, and it's become very safe and stable. But you have an underground which produces I almost said comics there, that skateboard and don't lose the art. And it's like I feel that's happened to so many things, and it's just capitalism, right? It kind of
yeah.
that's the way it goes. It
Just
kind of
drain the
gets,
blood out of you, wouldn't they?
yeah,
Drain
it
everything
draws
out of
it
you.
in, but you still get the people who skateboard in this regard and who like us make comics, and it's just we're kind of it's separate. We're doing your own thing. Uh, you mentioned your review, Tony. Some of the page layouts are absolutely lovely. There's one where
Really original, aren't
the
they?
yeah,
Yeah,
there's the like books put face down, so their spines go up and down over a page spread, and they're using them as like ramps,
like
which
half pipes almost. Yeah,
half pipes, and he's got little figures jumping up and down the spines of the book. It's a masterclass in some of the storytelling, like the AJ's use of line holds of bringing foreground and background, and the background there's no like dark outlines to stuff, it's just all colors, and the foreground's got like a very like not heavy stroke but a stroke on it. It gets such a sense of depth, especially when you're kind of there's skateboarders jumping up in front of big crowds, and
yeah.
it's an absolute joy to read. I can
There's an
honestly,
evolution from In Waves, isn't there? You can see a
yes,
little bit of what he did in Waves, but it's so different suddenly.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, you could, if you was really into skateboard, you fucking love this book. And generally, as a comic reader, stroke creator, it's a joy to watch because the motion and the energy that AJ Dungo's managed to put in this, and it's a book that changes styles throughout, like coloring styles, illustration styles. It goes from being very cartoony to kind of quite realistic. Uh, it introduced me to a couple of skateboarding terms. Uh,
yeah.
Credit carded. Can you take a
Oh yeah.
guess
Tell us what that
what
means.
that is? Is if you basically try a trick or a stunt and the skateboard ends up going up the crack of your ass, which happens in the story. And I'd imagine,
Accidentally.
yeah, imagine it's happening to a couple of many skateboarders if you ever try it. And it's weird.
Happened to me
getting,
first time I did it 4 times in a row.
I got to the end of it.
You're quite big
you know
into
what?
skateboarding, aren't you, Tony?
Massively into it.
I thought
I don't have any wheels on the skateboard, but
there's
you
a
know,
skateboard just down the way from me. I could go out, like get a cheap skateboard and give it a go. And I was like, I'm like
You're gonna
I'm
break your
getting
leg,
up to
aren't you,
50.
firstly?
I'm gonna fucking break my leg, if not neck. I can't do this.
Yes.
But it got me so hyped up that I wanted to relive my days of when I used to ollie over a car bonnet on my skateboard.
You've said that before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesus
Did that ever
Christ.
happen?
it did happen in some respects.
Jesus.
But yeah, I heartily recommend going get Skating Wilder from Flying Eye Books by Brandon Dumas and AJ Dungo. It's an absolutely lovely
Yeah.
read.
And in other news around AJ, his In Waves is about to be shown at Cannes, the movie.
Oh, nice.
The animated movie. Yeah.
There you go. There's that.
And
Oh, that's
There you go.
cool.
Yeah, cool,
and
right?
hopefully we'll have the British or the English language cut of it as well with because it's an animated movie. It's going to be in French first, and then I think they've got the cast. A little bird tells me for the
There's
English language one.
another
Nice.
comic book related film that we wanted to see.
Oh, is it?
It's called Fuck My Son by.
Oh, we do want to see that. don't we?
That's gonna be absolutely fucking nuts. That's from one extreme to the other there. That's
Yeah. Just a bit.
Oh, another show, a Hal Weaver's movie, I'm calling it that, even though he's only in one part of it. Yeah, the chronology of water is out any day soon. Go and see that. It's getting fucking rave reviews.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Nice. Just a quick one from me before I hand it over to Tony again. Issue 2 of Narco from Image Comics from Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
Wagner and Hilyard. I saw that was available, so I picked that one up. Another dark, twisted serial killer story from those two, but from the perspective of someone who could potentially be a victim rather than being on the side of the serial killer. And the victim themselves, or the person who's being stalked, is someone with narcolepsy who keeps, like, just whenever their heartbeat raises too much, they just drop out for the count. So immediately, it's got that. The style of this one feels like more giallo or those sort of thrillers like Mute Witness. You know, when you've got a great hook for a sort of like dark serial killer sort of thriller, and it's just fascinating. The issue 2, which I quite liked actually. There's no like extra murders or anything like that. We've set it up, and it's more about building the setting, and like he's being interrogated by the police. There's a little element you have to remove yourself from the reality of the situation. There's a sort of setup at the beginning of the book of issue 2, which works nicely for the story, but just don't think about it in real life. In real life, that wouldn't happen. There's a sort of like, I didn't think about it until afterwards. I was reading it, because when I was reading it, I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. And I thought about it afterwards. I thought, no, actually, I don't think that would happen like that. But you know, it's set up nicely. And with all great sort of mysteries, and I think I've got a theory about that we might have seen who the killer is.
Okay.
Or whoever's done this. But prove me wrong. That's all I've got to say. But Narco's just... I think the last one, I was Fashion School Serial Killer, was my least favourite of
mine.
Of the ones.
I missed the first issue of this, so I'm going to have to get it in trade.
Yeah.
I did order it, and then I got one of those not available emails.
Fucking hate that.
Yeah, it's got nice rhythm to it. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, because they're only like 5-6 issues, aren't they? Each one of these series. They're nice and self-contained. So yeah, Narco. If you like their books, it's just more of the same. Great stuff. Tony, what's your other one?
My second one's a very quick one. It's Warbird from Bad Idea. I bought this. It's a £1 ash can if you buy it from the Forbidden Planet site. The story's actually only 12 pages. But I think I've been seeing on some haul photographs from Free Comic Book Day today that it's been given away as a free comic book. I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe Forbidden Planet are kind of just covering some costs by being £1 or something. I bought it sight unseen due to two factors. Well, three really. One, Frank Whiteley cover. He's done some of the interior designs as well. Frank's done quite a lot of covers at the moment. He's done some World's Finest. He did the Bizarro comic. He's done a few things over at DC, and I try to pick them up if I can. You're nodding. You doing the same, Matt? Or no? You there?
No.
Oh. Yeah. So just said you were nodding when I said doing variant covers.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I just like Frank Whiteley, so
yeah, me too.
And I have ordered this. I haven't picked up my weekly, pull list from the comic shop this week yet, but it should be in there.
Cool. So other reasons beyond Frank Whiteley's cover, it's our boy Jesse Lonergan on the interiors, which is lovely. Like superb as always.
Yeah.
Plus added bonus, it's Robert Venditti as a writer who I'm a fan of. Now, this is why it might now. I didn't realise this when I bought it. This might be why it's worth putting in a bag and board. Is the co-writer of Venditti is a guy called Derek Kolstad. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he's the director of John Wick.
There you go, co-creator of John Wick. There you go.
And Highlander, the upcoming Highlander.
Oh, we did the upcoming.
Yeah, he did all the John Wicks. Plus, he was the stuntman for Brandon Lee in The Crow and the stuntman for Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
Oh, really?
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like I say, it's only 12 pages. This
I don't know much, but sometimes when I know things,
well
I know things.
Nice bit of nice facts.
A world authority on Derek Kolstad.
yeah.
He's downstairs at the moment, wondering where I am.
Del. Have you got a basement? Because you're on the first floor there. Right. So it's printed in sort of floppy newsprint style paper.
Nice.
It's a little bit. It's somewhere between the style we see the more sort of tighter panelled images that we see Jesse do. Between that cool. And somewhere the sort of what's it called? We Drive at Night. What was the Batman bootleg he did? That one. The more sort of inky. There's a real one, and I say that because this has got a real kinetic chase sequence in it. So in this, you get a repo man, a motorbike, a billionaire influencer, many armed guards, annoying bystanders, shots fired, and it all takes place on a massive cruise liner. So Cole, who is the repo man, I realised that by reading some of the gumph on it. His brother is also in the business with him, and they've been employed to recover a motorbike that this billionaire influencer hasn't paid for. And they're taking great pleasure in it. And as he's riding the bike through this cruise liner, and the influencer is watching, and all the guards and the security men are firing guns. But you realise it's on a cruise line. You think, how the fuck is he going to get off this cruise line now? How's he going to get saved? And you go, and then you get that happening where the bike goes off the end of the cruise liner as well, which is a lovely panel. Just buy it for Jesse. Another masterclass in energy and motion and pace and personality and really imaginative panel layouts. There's more panels in this than there are in most 22-page comics.
It's amazing,
as always. I'm going to say, as my last comment, and really, first off, sort of available in all the comic shops. My final comment on this really reminds me of Zach Cahill. Zach's so in this wheelhouse that I just kind of feel there's both top artists who I'll read everything they put out, but Warbird. It's from Bad Idea, who have this sort of weird thing where they only sell to certain comic book shops. Is that right? I never seem to see them in Gosh.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah. But they're the guys who used to be at Valiant when Valiant was good.
Oh, nice.
That's fucking fun. Did you get an email about a Valiant app today? Did anyone get that?
No, I didn't get that.
It had a link on it. It looks like so unprofessionally done. I thought, I'm not fucking pressing that. So I don't know.
I just want to say something for the listeners. Just hopefully give me a chance. I was so fucking confident in what I said just then, and then after I stopped, I thought,
you looked
hang
up.
on.
Right.
I looked it up, and he's the writer of John Wick and Nobody. It was Chad Stahelski is the director. Who was that?
Okay.
But Cole said, he wrote John Wick 1, 2, and 3, and then Nobody and the upcoming Normal. I thought, I was so confident about that. I even said, well, when I know things, I know things. And I think I've got that wrong.
Say anything with confidence and people will believe you.
I know. You totally did believe me. And the thing is,
I've got a 10-inch
told me.
I didn't say incorrect facts. They were just factually incorrect.
Nice.
That's all I got to say.
Vince, that is your truth.
That is my truth. And I'm living it, girlfriend. And what a great bunch of comics and comic chat that we've had this week. And we hope you have enjoyed it, listeners. And Matt, thank you for joining us again. I hope you enjoyed it.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes,
really appreciate it.
We've drained all
the conversation.
Oh, good.
We'll be back in it. If I'm not the first person back in that, I'll be disappointed.
Yes. Speaking of which,
thanks.
Steamroller Man Kickstarter starts on the 5th of May, I believe.
Yeah, launches May 5th. I'm gonna activate it at 9 a.m. Los Angeles time. So I think that'll be like 5 p.m. for you guys on May 5th.
Okay, good time.
Given the time difference. It's got variant covers from Mike Kunkel, Edison Neo, who I know is a friend of the ACP. He did a really awesome cover. And Flops Comics, who is a UK artist.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
They're going to be only exclusively available on Kickstarter.
Mike Kunkel,
so I only printed the...
I saw
Mike Kunkel's a friend of mine from way back.
Hero Bear and the Kid.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you haven't read Hero Bear and the Kid, read Hero Bear and the Kid. I think I spoke about it about like 10 years ago when we first started the show because it was one of the books I absolutely cherished. That is an amazing book.
He's awesome. He was a real inspiration to me when he first started Hero Bear. I was like, I want to do a comic one day.
Oh, nice.
And years later, I finally did.
Yeah.
Dude, you are the busiest man because you spend all your day drawing things and then you come home at night to draw comics as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit difficult to fit it all in.
Yeah.
But I'm doing my best. So.
As well as a 3-hour commute every day.
Yeah.
Right. That made it more difficult especially with trying to get this Kickstarter ready. I was like, how am I gonna do this? Like,
listeners,
I just made myself do it. So.
Yeah.
Steamroller Man, get on it.
You know what to do, listeners. And likewise, if you enjoyed this episode, there's several different ways you can get in touch with us. You can email us, awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. Follow us on the socials at awesomecomicspod on Insta, at the awesomepod on X. And thank you for listening to this show, wherever you listen to us, whether it was on the Podbean app or perhaps the website, awesomecomics.podbean.com. On Apple Podcasts, leave a nice review, maybe 5 stars. We're on the internet and we've got egos, so we desperately need it. And Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What are the networks we on, Tony?
We're on the Pod Network. Pickleball is just shit tennis.
Just gonna leave that there for all you pickleball fans out there. Speaking of which, where can people find us online, etc.? Tony.
Neverwriteanything.com or Tony EZ over on Substack.
Dan Butcher.
You can find me on Twitter at Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com.
You can find me on social media at Jester Diablo. Matthew Schofield, where can people find you and the brilliant comics?
Well, please go to kickstarter.steamrollerman.com. That'll take you to the campaign. And otherwise, Linktree/Steamrollerman has all my links and social media stuff.
Brilliant.
Cool.
As always, folks, follow us on Substack. Find us on Slack. Just do all of that stuff. We're gonna go off.
Don't bootleg our t-shirts.
Don't bootleg us.
Another one today. Why would you bootleg a sticker of "I went to the 500th episode"?
I know.
Why would you bother going that far?
No one bought them in the first place.
I presume it's just a bot scraping it, right?
Yeah,
just a bot scraping it.
Yeah. But if any bots are listening, thanks. The downloads are appreciated.
Yeah, free advertising by selling our t-shirts for us.
Yeah. So from everyone here at ACP Towers, Dan, Tanya, Matthew and myself, have a brilliant week. Enjoy those comics you're reading, you're making. Let us know if you find any funny ones. And until you hear from us next week, I guess there's something else they should do, guys. What is it?
Stay awesome.
Stay awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.